Welcome to Gospel in Life. Today, we're sharing the first of two previously unreleased meditations that were part of a special series by Tim Keller, Trusting God in Difficult Times. Originally recorded in 2020, these meditations remain applicable to our everyday lives and the hardships and sorrows we face. We hope it encourages you and points you to the strength and hope we can find in God during difficult times. And now here's today's meditation.
My title is A Tale and an Idiot. Ecclesiastes chapter 8, verse 16 and 17. Then I applied my mind to know wisdom and to observe the labor that is done on earth. I see people getting no sleep, night or day. Then I look to see all that God has done, but no one can comprehend what goes on under the sun. People toil to search it out, but no one can discover its meaning. Even if the wise claim they know, they cannot really comprehend it. Now, one of the hardest parts about this pandemic is being able to see what's really happening. The newspaper articles are just filled with statements like, this is unpredictable, it's unprecedented, there's no game plan, it's uncharted territory, it's impossible to predict. We're trying to look at things, try to see what's really happening, and we can't even really quite tell. This is an old problem. The Ecclesiastes is written by a man who's trying to understand, using human wisdom, what's happening in the life. He's looking, and history, he's looking at history and he's trying to understand it. He's trying to look for patterns. And he says two very, very interesting things. The first very interesting thing is he says, when I applied my mind to know wisdom and observe all that's done on earth, I realized no one can comprehend what goes on under the sun. Now, when he says under the sun, he was talking about human society and history. And he says, even though the wise claim they know, they cannot comprehend it. So the first point he's making is human philosophy will never really be able to understand what's actually happening in history. We think we can get in control of things. Oh, we shouldn't have pandemics anymore, but we still do. We really wonder, what's going on here? What are the lessons we should learn? And, Michel Foucault, who is a very influential postmodern French philosopher, late 20th century, he and a lot of other people today now say, look, there is no rhyme or reason to history. Karl Marx thought history was going toward a worker's paradise. We don't believe that anymore. Hegel believed that we were becoming more and more rational and the world spirit was evolving to higher and higher stages of human living. Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock believed that human life was evolving to higher and higher forms. And Foucault comes along and says, we just don't believe that anymore. We don't see any patterns. We see ruptures, we see changes, we see power struggles, but there's no rhyme or reason to it. And that's what Ecclesiastes says. You take God out of the equation, and you just use human wisdom and science and things like that, nothing makes sense. So they're right. He's right about that. Foucault said so too. And yet, what's interesting is, Foucault basically says that Shakespeare was right, that history is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. History is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. No pattern to it at all. But the Ecclesiastes writer doesn't go all the way. He says, I used human philosophy and wisdom to understand, but then he actually says, and when I saw all that God was doing, I had trouble discerning it. And so what he's doing here is telling us something else, that even though we can't discern what God's doing in history, there is a God behind it. Derek Kidner, in his great commentary on Ecclesiastes, puts it in a really ludicrous way. It's very funny. He says, Foucault and other people think that history is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. But Kidner says, what if history isn't a tale told by an idiot? What if the reason we can't understand it is because history is a tale told to idiots, us? What if the reason why we can't understand it is simply not because there's no God or because God doesn't have a plan, but because we're too spiritually and intellectually stupid to see it? History is not a tale told by an idiot, it's a tale told to idiots. And that gives us hope. Because even though we may not be able to see the plan right now, everybody, we can see the planner. We may not see the plan, but we can see the planner. And Job, in his best moments, said it perfectly. Job chapter 23, verse 9 and 10, he says this: "When God is at work in the north, I cannot behold him. When he turns to the south, I cannot see him. Yet he knows the way I have taken, and when he has tested me, I will come forth as gold."
And now here's Tim and Kathy Keller for a short time of Q&A on today's meditation.
It sounded to me, and maybe I just wasn't listening carefully enough, that you were endorsing what Michel Foucault said, that history really is meaningless and it doesn't have any plan or any rhyme or any reason. You want to maybe clear that up?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly was saying what I meant to say, and I hope I said it this way, was that Foucault was agreeing with the author of Ecclesiastes. And the author of Ecclesiastes says, "Then I saw that no one can comprehend what goes on under the sun."
Okay.
And in the book of Ecclesiastes, and this is very important for reading that book, what he does when he says under the sun means when I look at life without God, and I try to make sense of it, it actually doesn't make sense. And Foucault was looking at life without God and said it doesn't make sense, and therefore was actually agreeing. And if there is no God, then it is a tale told by an idiot full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
But he's taking the worst case scenario. If there's no God, none of this makes sense.
Right.
However, we know there is a God, and
Yes.
so even though we don't necessarily see the pattern or see the sense, that then there actually is one.
That's
Okay.
right.
Okay. Reminds me of Lewis's second book in his space trilogy, Perelandra, the coronation scene where the angels are singing this hymn of praise, and all of history is shown in this pattern with, people and societies and cultures and civilizations all woven together, and it's just stunning. I recommend that book to everybody who'll even stop and listen.
I know.
But, yeah, I know you know. I also thought of something that was said, at Dora Hillman's house, a Young Life retreat, boy, 60 years ago, maybe? 60, well, a long time ago. If you are in a place where you don't know, you're driving in the dark at night and you don't know your way, what would you rather have with you? The best Army topological map that there is, showing every rock and bump and tree, or a local resident in the seat next to you? Would you rather have a map that shows you the whole picture?
That's right.
But you better interpret it right in order to get to where you're going, or a local who says, "I know the secret way to get on to the Queens Midtown Tunnel. You go to this little alley and you make a left turn. There you are."
I remember that now. The idea is that what we want from God is we want the map, not the map maker. So we want the map to say, I want to know over the next 10 years everything that's going to happen to me, so I know what's going to happen to me and what to expect. Instead, God gets into the car with us and says, I'll show you, go down there and turn right, go over there and turn left. So he's with us, and he only gives us, he doesn't show us the whole map, he just shows us the next leg of our journey.
Right.
But the fact is, because we have him in the car, we know we won't get lost.
Yeah, that's helped me my whole life.
I'd forgotten about that. Thanks for reminding me.
If you found today's meditation encouraging, please subscribe below and be sure to share it with a friend to encourage them as well. And if you'd like to hear more teachings by Tim Keller, you can listen to new sermons every week at gospelandlife.com/podcast. Thanks again for watching Gospel and Life.